We're coming to you live since Hangouts on Air has disappeared. We're using Streamlabs. I'm still kind of experimenting with it a little bit, so if something seems off or doesn't work perfectly...
StreamYard.
Oop. StreamYard is what we're using. I was hoping it would do something like Hangouts where the screen would change based on who was talking, but I'm not seeing that as an option right now. So I guess you're just going to have us both on screen at the same time for right now. And before I even get into what book we read or the discussion, I just want to let you guys know that if you want to be part of the book club on screen with us, you can sign up on Patreon to become a book club VIP, where you'll unlock quite a few different perks. One is that you get to be in a rotation where you provide some book selections for the group to vote on each month. You get a custom bookmark. You get to join us on screen in the chat. There are behind-the-scenes footage and outtakes and a bunch of other things. So like I said, if you visit patreon.com/Libri Labra, you can find out more information about that. So this month, we read, this month being July, we read Godsgrave by Jay Kristoff, and this is what we're going to be talking about. If you have not read it yet, we are going to be going into spoiler territory. So hopefully you are about to read it, because the third installment of this series is coming out next month. And we can start with just initial thoughts, I think. And then I will give you guys another warning about when we're in spoiler territory.
I enjoyed it quite immensely.
This was your book. Why did you pick this?
Why did I pick it?
Yeah,
because it was a continuation of another book that I thoroughly enjoyed called Nevernight.
What? That's insane.
But were you thinking about the fact that Dark Dawn is going to release next month? Or
nope.
You just wanted to read the next book?
Nope, just wanted to read it. Dark Dawn coming out next month is a happy accident.
Okay.
Is
Sure.
I mean, not my accident. Maybe it is my accident. It was done on purpose. It's coming out next month on purpose.
Okay. So initial thoughts besides you liked it?
I mean...
I feel like... why?
How can I not go into spoiler territory at this point? Because it's like it's a second book of a series, but I loved it because of the character growth. How about that?
Okay. I feel like while you were reading it, you were quoting a lot of different things. So would you say you're a fan of...
I actually tweeted at Jay Kristoff about...
the author Jay Kristoff.
Yeah.
Yes. He apparently somewhere he uses cluster of fuckery. And I was like, yes, I liked it. But outside of that, there's a lot of things that he uses. His terminology is interesting. And I really do like his world building. Okay.
All right, Tom, how about you?
Again, without going to spoiler territory.
Right, just initial thoughts.
It was the same but different. How about that? No, it's what you want in a sequel, in the sense that you recognize the same characters and such, but they're put in different settings and different situations.
Okay.
Which, it gives you that continuity and sense of, yes, this is still recognizably the same character, but they're not exactly 100% the same.
Right. So, I would say that my experience reading this was kind of different than Nevernight. Nevernight I really struggled with in the beginning with all the footnotes, and I mean I think he kind of grew into what he was doing with the story later on, so the footnotes didn't become as much of a pain in the butt. But my experience with Nevernight was like difficulty in the beginning, wasn't sure if I wanted to finish it, and eventually being like, oh wow, I really liked that. This book I was excited to go into, and I felt like the world building was so good because I was listening to the audiobook, I was reading it, and there were moments where I had to take a break, and it felt like I could physically feel myself being pulled out of the world. Like I was there. I was there following Mia. I was there beside her. I just felt very much immersed in the world. And I don't usually cry at books. There's probably a handful that have made me tear up, but this book made me cry, like real tears, to the point where, there was a spot where I told John, I don't think I can keep going. I don't think I can keep reading this.
Twice.
And so I feel like it really, really physically impacted me while I was reading it. And I just felt very immersed in the story.
She's scared. I was actually in bed playing a video game, and she had headphones on and was listening to it, and she just stopped, said, "What?" And I was like, what? But yeah, she came across one of those pivotal moments that, there was a couple times that you were all like, I can't do this. And I'm like, no, you have to finish it because things come together. But
well, before we jump into like super spoilers, the one thing that, because I can tell the difference between all the books that I read that are written by women, and then here's a series that I'm reading that's written by a man about a woman. There's differences that I acknowledge, but there was something that I realized about how I felt about Mia. And I was like, it's really nice to have a female main character who's not an idiot, who's not like doing really dumb, stupid things that make me be like, really? Did you really just do that? Did you really just make that decision? Like, who does that? So there has never been a point in the story where I felt like Mia was stupid or didn't know what she was doing or was making like these really bad mistakes. I mean, you
did question one thing.
I did question a couple of things, but
to me anyway,
the way it was written, it was fine. It worked out. So I was just thankful that Mia was not destroyed in my mind. But it's nice. It's nice to have that strong female character. So I guess from here we can move on into spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Again, if you haven't read it, just keep in mind it's not a YA book. It's, I guess, new adult. Mia is 17, but she's an assassin. So.
We have to premise that even in her younger years in the first book, Jay Kristoff wanted to point out this is not YA. This is not YA. This, like, he's tired of that label because it's not. It's just not.
The sex scenes, there are sex scenes in both of the books, and they're very explicit. And I mean, if that's your thing, then whatever. I don't love that, but that's just me. Okay, so where do you even begin? I don't even know where to begin. I'm just like, my emotions are all over the place. I think you've had a little bit more time to process, so why don't you?
That's just a scapegoat. I'm just like, hey, I don't want to deal with this. You deal with it.
It was your pick.
I don't know. There's so much stuff happened in this. It's ridiculous. I know it was harder to get into at the beginning when it was going back and forth from one time frame to another, and then when it wraps up and it finally, like, those two timelines merge.
I completely forgot about that,
you're like, okay, this is where we're actually at. So
he did in the first book too. But
yeah, yep, he did. I think he was better at it this time though. Like he was still world building in the first book, so he kind of had to add a few things here and there that kind of pulled you out of it a little bit. But
right,
this time around, it was definitely a good blend, and there were a couple questions and a couple loopholes that I kind of had to go back and try and look at, but it wasn't something that was too jarring for the story. When like there's just so much to talk about.
Just to bring things up, how do you feel about the relationship between Kindly and Eclipse?
I think they're finally like getting used to each other, but they're still. I think it's like a brother sister that is just annoyed by each other all the time.
But were you annoyed throughout the story? Like, Mia was constantly annoyed with them.
Yeah.
So were you constantly
I'm tired
annoyed
of
with them?
Bickering back and forth too. But No, I like some of their comments towards each other. Like Eclipse is just an asshole to Kindly,
Mhm.
and Kindly's like, can we just stop? They're bickering children. That's all they are.
Well, so just to expand on that a little bit, at one point someone says something about like where they came from, and that Kindly is more like Mia, and that the dog is more like Cassius. But I always just saw them as like cat dog personalities.
They kind of are.
Yeah, like just totally forgetting who they belong to, or who they.
I think I don't know how much they explained it in the first book, but they added a little bit more detail to the forms that the passengers take whenever they actually attach to a Darkin, and they did talk about why Eclipse became a wolf or a dog for Cassius, and then of course we know that Kindly was basically replicating
Mia's lost cat.
Captain
Whiskers? I don't remember.
Bubbles?
I don't
know. It was a 3-year-old's naming of a cat. So,
right.
But when Scave the soldiers killed the cat and put her in a bucket when she came back out of that, or a barrel when she came back out of that barrel, that's when she had Kindly. Like so, and he took the form of her missing cat. Is basically the most familiar creature, and that's I choose that word with double meaning,
right?
Because I like the idea of having a familiar creature follow you around everywhere.
Any thoughts on that, Tom?
Well, I think that they explained it really well in the sense that they said that Mia, I think, says she thinks that whoever got the shadow first made it the biggest imprint on it. So, Cassius had the wolf, she had the the cat and whatnot. And I would assume, it's not clear yet how the 2 new familiars are going to be used that she got toward the end of the book.
2?
Yeah.
Because she killed Furion and took his shadow, but he didn't have a familiar.
I remember her saying there was room for, or the narrator saying there was room for 4.
Yeah, her shadow, Furion's shadow, and the 2 passengers.
Okay, well,
like a shadow dark enough for 4.
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because when she's walking around, they've mentioned it a few times that she has a shadow dark enough for 3. And then whenever Eclipse split
that
off
makes more
to
sense.
Follow, because when Eclipse split off to follow Ashlyn, then they now her shadow's dark enough for 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's kind of interesting how he gave that. It's dark enough for this many, but because of what they're alluding to with the reveal at the end of the book. Is that he told her at the beginning that she should be like what is it, painting the sky red and
blue, black,
black, and consuming all of their shadows,
right?
So apparently there's more Darkin for her to eat.
What is that? Does that come up in like other stories where just that? I'm trying to think of like, I don't know if it's a video game I played or what. Yeah, just that getting stronger by
consuming others.
The others, yeah.
The quickening.
Oh yeah. I'm sure there's some out there.
The one that did that. It's just
interesting that the shadows are preserved from owner to owner. They don't go back to the void where from which they came.
Right.
Once you're here, and
so now we have to deal with the idea that her brother is one too.
Yes. And
that if they are both this one guy's brood, is he one as well?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's Mia's mom.
Yeah, Mia's mom is the connection. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because of the way that people talk about her and how she influenced people and how she I don't know. I just thought it came from her mom.
Okay.
Yeah, the
I'm
implication
curious.
was
Well, it's just for me that feels like that's not the case, because if she was this dark and bad, maybe she didn't know anything about it, but I would imagine if she had so much influence and power, she would have known what she was and wouldn't have been imprisoned.
I mean, like Mia's not invincible, but the reason she's so strong is because of all the training she went through in the Red Church, which I assume her mother did not go
Correct,
through.
but even Furion mentions at one point that if you can slip through shadows, that she can basically teleport through darkness.
Right.
That there was no reason for. He's like, you can get out of here anytime you want. Why do you stay?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. And I feel like if Skave's some big Billy badass, I'm pretty sure that could be why, or have a little. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We got another book to go.
So I think you cut Tom off a little bit.
I'm sorry.
No. It's just I just want to say that it seemed to me that Mia's mom was having an ongoing affair with Consul Scava, and because her husband is gay, big spoilers there. It seems that both Mia and her brother are Scavas, not her dad's.
Right. Yeah.
So
she came across the conversation that Mia had with Sidonius, and she came to ask me. She goes, "Is Sid her father?" And I was like, "No." And then she's like, "No, read this." She went back and read a caption like
I read
couple
it like 3 times. Yeah.
To try and tell me that no, she's talking about his daughter, and I'm like, no, no, there's an extra word in there. But she was actually thinking that mom was a bit more than friendly with a lot of people, not just Scava and dad.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was Sid talking too. Sid said that, and she was like, "No, you take that back."
Well, she's playing the Game of Thrones. Is what she was doing. They call it the game. They don't say that.
Right.
That is essentially the game they are playing. So, when I said about it being similar but different, if you recall, when we read the first novel, I called it Meet Hogwarts.
Yeah.
And I told John and I had a brief conversation about this on Messenger, but so now it's becoming clearer. First book was Mean Hogwarts for Rogues, and the second book, this book, is Mean Hogwarts for Warriors.
Yeah, right.
So like I said, it's the same but different.
Well, the next one's going to be necromancy.
Yeah, awesome. That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Well,
but she still fights like a rogue, though, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I like when the amount of detail that he put in specific scenarios, and they're like, well, you get a sword and shield instead of 2 blades, and she's like,
exactly.
Fight like this. What is this crap?
Yeah.
Like, she ended up having to learn how to use a shield, and then ended up not using it anyway, and started blocking things with her sword.
Well, that's what she was really trained with. So.
Right.
What was it that happened when she was fighting with Furion? Like, was there a third thing that was happening towards the end when she was fighting with Furion?
Last
and their
battle?
Shadows were mixing, and they were both just very much feeling each other.
There was multiple times that whenever they were in the same room, that they realized that their shadows were kind of starting to blend, like they would reach toward each other.
Right.
But I think that had to do with what the mysterious character at the beginning of the book said, is that that many will become one. So, and that's the reason why that when a Darkin dies near her or she kills them, that she consumes their shadow.
So is it the shadows just kind of pulling at each other?
Yes.
Just kind of like.
And that's the reason why she was like, I'm feeling this kind of hunger or pull towards him, but I don't know what it is. And then everybody else was like, it's obviously you guys love each other or are infatuated with each other. You guys need to just get it over with. But she's like, no, that's not it. So
she kind of described it that way, though.
Well, I mean, there was no physical attraction, but she felt like there was a deep down pull, a hunger.
Well, yeah, it could be a union, but not a sexual union.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that hunger. And then at the end, when her brother looked at her and he looked down at Dad and said, "Dad, I'm hungry." And he was feeling that hunger at that point.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the little things. I just like those things.
That was, I did not pick that up. That's good. That's a good call. But I got the impression that when their shadows were reaching out, if they can somehow like Wonder Twin powers activate, they become much stronger than the sum. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's what the mysterious character was getting at. If you actually combine forces, you'd be a lot stronger than you are individually.
That's very true.
But like I guess just the idea of the way she was able to manipulate it, like she felt his pain and she was able to take away some of that for him.
Oh, yes. Yes. That they both had that emotional connection. Basically, what Kindly and Eclipse do to her was like eating her fear.
Right.
She can actually take the pain and suffering, or whatever, feeling whatever they feel. And that's also where whenever she saw Skeva and Duomo on the stage, and he's like, "Oh dear God, I can feel what you're feeling. What did they do to you?"
Hate,
So I was like, "Ooh." You got a taste. And then during their fight later on, he actually started like showing those emotions outright that she was feeling. So whenever they were fighting and actually fighting against the rest of the gladiati, but yeah, whenever they were fighting all the rest of the gladiati, he evoked her rage. So they were both like just tearing through everybody, and she was like, "God, what happened to you?" But it was her rage that he was feeling.
Do you think then that means? And I don't know the answer. I'm just posing the question. Not the extent that the Borg are a hive mind, but it's a collective consciousness that the Shadow is.
It's an interesting thought.
I want to say yes.
I would say to an extent, because if that was the case, then I don't think Eclipse and Kindly would be at each other's throats so much. Like, unless their annoyance to each other just feeds each other annoyance.
Among the Darken, I mean, among the humans.
Oh, the human part?
Not necessarily
maybe.
The Shadows. Because the Shadows do have to do what the humans direct, so.
Oh. Interesting. That's maybe something alluding to something that happens in the next book.
Although Kindly is not quite as what's the word I'm looking for? Not loyal, but Kindly is not quite as willing to please as Eclipse is.
Well, he's a cat.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on.
They
do apparently retain their essential nature.
Yeah.
That apparently doesn't change.
There was something in the book that I thought was really, really funny. It was like really early on. And it was like the footnote for the tavern. I think that was called the Burning Bush.
The Taverna. Actually, it went through multiple names.
It went through multiple names, but that one, because I was reading it with Kat. I was at my reading retreat and we were listening to the audio together. And I started laughing really hard. She was like, "What?" I was like, "Did you not get what just happened there?" And she was like, "Oh, I didn't read it that way. I didn't pick up on the
nuance."
Something about like the nun. The nun? Was it a nun? Having STDs or something?
Yeah. And then it was named the dog's dinner or something afterwards.
Yeah.
And it was because she caught a man cheating and cut his balls off and fed it to the dog. Yep. And then a dog bowl and an axe hang on each side of the door. Mm-hmm. Just all those little things that he likes to put in there is a completely unnecessary but good little quips and insight onto the world itself.
It's like really making me crave a movie. Like I want movies.
A movie version?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like
or maybe a
the
series?
TV shows
I
that
don't.
they're making in Australia at the moment?
I mean,
Do you
I
think
guess we'll
PR4 is
see.
doing a good job with
I
it?
guess we'll see after we see it.
I'm
Whenever that
curious.
comes
I
out.
really can't wait to see that.
Like a full-on Hunger Games sort of budget for that sort of film would do it really well.
Absolutely. Oh my God, yes. I'm also since we've got to shake hands with Pierce Brown last week.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I remember.
I'm awaiting the Red Rising series as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, back to Godsgrave.
I've been reading the things that he's been posting to his Instagram because he's been using emails from frustrated, angry readers to market his books.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're great.
And it's just
some restaurants do that too. But anyway, go ahead. With the Yelp reviews.
I was gonna pull some of them up, but
yeah, it's just been really funny. I think there was one that was like this film company called, they want their Gladiator plot back or something like that. But when reading his stuff, do you see a lot of influences from other media or
I wouldn't say like media, but I'm thinking because a lot of other media pulls from the same like
stories, like origin stories.
The Romans, the Greeks, all the bullshit they did to each other. Just the idea of having an arena in a situation like that is such an ancient. It's human. We did it. It was a thing. Like you can't fault them on using something like that.
We could also fault George Martin for using English history for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, right.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
Well, there was a part in the story where I'm still a little lost, and I don't know if it's just because it hasn't been revealed, and it'll probably be revealed in the third book, but what was the deal with the poisoning? Who was responsible for that? The first poisoning.
Who?
When the
magistrate, I thought.
Okay.
When we lost Maggot?
Yes.
Yes, that's the magistrate.
I guess it didn't ever feel clear as to why. Like why the magistrate did that or why.
To make sure that, so Mia has this conversation with Leona. She was like, who do you think would actually gain more from you going crawling back to your father?
Mm-hmm.
Who would that, and the magistrate actually, the magistrate belongs to her father first. And then her father sent her with Leona after the fact. And then Arcades just followed her just because he was
in love with her.
Yeah, he loved her. But the magistrate was sent basically as a double agent to make sure Leona doesn't overtake her father.
Like I guess
wasn't to overtake her, just to humiliate him in the games.
Yeah, I mean, he was just being a dick to her the whole time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
It like usually in stories there's like two pieces of that, right? Like for the viewer to figure it out, you have the side where it's kind of explained to you, but then there should be the side where you saw it all along and just didn't acknowledge it. And I guess I never really saw it on the magistrate's side, so that's why it's not connecting for me.
Yeah, I guess because there was no evil villain telling the good guy their plot. I guess. So,
no, it didn't have to be that straightforward. But with Mia spelling it out, like why I didn't see the little seeds that were planted from the magistrate's perspective.
Did you get the stuff that was hidden behind the scene, like when Arcades was confronted? And his emotional response to everything that was going on, he goes, "Why would I do this? I would never. Oh my God, why am I being blamed for this? Holy shit, what the fuck?"
Right.
And then you're at that point in time, you're all like, "Well, then if it wasn't him, who the hell was it?" So that's when, if you thought that at that point, then Mia going through her spiel with Leona would be like, "Oh, okay, that bitch." But it's not. If you didn't, there's like multiple things before that. Wait, this happened. Why did this happen? For this reason, because this doesn't make sense with the information that was given. There's a couple points that happens. So, but if you're not actually noticing that when you read through it, then it's probably not gonna.
I mean, the only thing that I
Puzzle
remember questioning, or that I can see, that I can see, is when the magistrate went to Leona and said he knows. Like, that's the only thing that sticks out in my mind.
Oh, the one she told Leona that Arcades knows
that Arcades knows that she had been sleeping with Furion. Like, that's the only thing that really sticks in my mind of, like, the magistrate trying to set it up and blame Arcades. But that was really the only point that I make a connection with. I don't remember seeing anything else that...
There were tiny hints. So that was one of them, but there were tiny hints along through there. And if, again, it's probably one of those that a second read through would be like, oh, God, why did I miss that the first time?
And I don't know if I misunderstood something, but earlier on in the book, somebody was talking to Mia, and I swear someone was talking about their feelings for someone, and it was the magistrate. Mia was like, the magistrate? Really?
On the gladiators?
Did that happen?
I don't know.
I don't recall that. That's not to say it's not in there.
Right. I think it could have been something I completely glossed over too.
Okay.
Just because there really wasn't too much with the other gladiators. It wasn't much information that was gleaned from them. So it might have been someone like inconsequential. So
unless they were talking about Leonidas being in love with her.
Who?
The father. Leona's father.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
Possibly, yeah.
So yeah, that whole poisoning scene, that kind of messed me up, and I was crying. She was
definitely crying. I that actually, losing Maggot actually bothered me a little bit. I didn't cry, but I was like, oh my, they really just wow. And what I like about stories like this is that even like because I'm still reading Dark Age. I'm almost done with that.
Okay.
But there's a lot of little things here and there, and it's really things that are consequential to each individual character that causes something else to happen that could be good or bad, or to go a little bit further on the emotional roller coaster they're on. But I just really think that because losing Maggot actually put her in a specific situation or an emotional state to completely just obliterate whoever else had gotten her way. So I remember there was a scene right after that she was going into. I think was it one of the fights, and that the idea of losing Maggot going into that, like, she was kind of fueled by it.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually want to reread it now. I read it so long. It was a lot. How long ago did I finish that book,
maybe
man?
A week or two.
But I really do like the little bits and pieces that I can extrapolate from it after the fact and be like, oh, that's why this went. Like doing the strings afterwards is always my favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog didn't need to die. That was sad too. So like that just.
Well, the dogs had a weaker immune system than we do.
I know, but like
poison will go through it faster.
Yes.
Like the whole time that dog was in the book, like I couldn't not think about him as Hagrid's dog.
Oh.
Because Hagrid's dog's name is Fang, and I think it was even the same type of dog. I think maybe.
No.
Okay. Well, I was thinking about him as
Fang was a magical creature.
What?
It wasn't just a dog.
What kind of magical creature was he?
I don't know.
I think you're making shit up. Anyway, so
what about Aislin's and Mia's romance?
Oh, good. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't like it. I didn't like it because I couldn't forgive Ashlyn for killing Trick. Like, I couldn't, like, she didn't care. She did it and she didn't care, and she just felt like he was just in the way.
No,
and
she
like,
cared.
Dude,
she even said at one point that was the hardest thing I've done because I knew it was going to hurt you.
Whatever.
So,
God.
It didn't stop her from doing it, but
She's
hey.
just not accepting of anything. She's like, Ash.
No, come on. This is like, listen, I'm a pretty forgiving person, but we're talking about killing somebody. This is not like, oh, sorry, I stole something from you. Sorry, I lied to you. Sorry, like.
Okay, sorry, I killed your.
Like, is there anything worse?
Your
Yeah,
squeeze.
Is there anything worse than that? I don't think there is. So
but in her defense, she really didn't. But that's another story.
Spoilers.
But
yeah, I wish we had to wait for the last
goddamn
goddamn word of the book.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, but I assume that he was the person that talked to her earlier on in the book.
Yeah,
he's the one that saved her ass.
That's the reason why I didn't say his name when I brought him up 3 times already.
Well, we're talking about spoilers.
I know, but I was going to leave a
the
spoiler for everybody if they didn't read it yet. But
it had already been spoiled for me, which was upsetting.
Oh, boo! Who did that?
Well,
she did it to herself. She always does it to herself, Tom. She always does it to herself. She always looks up information before she finishes with the book.
No, hold on. Here's what happened.
Always.
First, I was like, there's no body. I was like, there's no body. I had
boom. Number one.
Yeah.
No body.
Yeah.
So I had hope, but then I was in someone else's live stream where it wasn't about the book in particular, but they were talking about books they liked, and they were talking about how they were excited for the next book, and they happened to mention something. And I was like, was that a spoiler? I think it was.
Yeah, that was a big, huge spoiler right there.
And then when I was reading Godsgrave, I went to the back of the book to find out how many pages were there, and I just happened to see the last word, and I was like, God damn it.
Well, I think that's on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. Okay, so the second poisoning. Why did Mercurio poison all of them, or try to anyway? Like, why all of them?
Okay, so you're talking about a group of elites that have been owning slaves forever. They're all the what do they call them? What do they call the people who?
Shit.
They had a specific name for them. Yeah. They were all in one box watching the show, watching the event. So, in order to do away with the idea that Mia's still going to be a slave at the end of this book, they all had to die.
Okay, but they didn't.
I mean, the three parts of her plan didn't work. Okay, so it's just
but it got the message across. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, but it's just the idea that going into the next book. Okay, so what happened with the okay, is she still a slave of Leanna? Blah 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 blah. I mean, they dealt with that whole issue. So now she's got another mission and more shit to find out. But I like that there's 2 instances within the book where like, now, gentle friends, when this story is talked about amongst taverns and like the folklore beyond people are gonna say this, or it's gonna be written off as some drunk idiot. But
when he does stuff like that, that reminds me of Terry Pratchett, because Terry Pratchett every so often will include footnotes in his Discworld series. So
yep. So it's just the little things like that I get all about.
So, just out of curiosity, did you read the first chapter of the next book that was at the end of Godsgrave?
I did not.
Okay. I did.
You did?
I did.
Did you read it to me?
No.
Okay.
I told you it was there if you wanted to read it, because it's not in the audio
I'm going to wait.
Okay. Well, whatever.
Because, I mean, basically you just read the first chapter.
It's literally
of a
just
book
chapter 1, and
yet.
it's not that super exciting. It's like nothing happens. So.
Oh, that's like any chapter one, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Is it like a recap of what happened?
No,
No.
it's a slight continuation.
Okay.
Well, we haven't talked about I guess the new plot about how Skeva is in league with the church.
Yeah, but we knew that.
Did we?
Well, to that degree, I don't know.
Not to that. I mean,
Not
well,
that degree, yeah.
so at some point she's like, I'm going to kill Skeva, and who's the blind guy? What's his name?
Solus?
Yes, Solus is like, you can't touch him, and she's like, well, why not? It's because he at some point she learns that Skeva's a main contributor to the church, like he pays people, and then Duomo is too. And that's kind of what the end, the one of the chapters at the end is kind of telling why all this stuff just happened, and she basically just played into their hands.
Right.
And yeah, so it was just like so much. And I knew there was something weird about Skeva when they started talking about him, like, you know, being all showy and you know, being out in the open and blah blah blah. I'm like, there's something different about him. So I liked how they kind of rolled that in.
Well, the astonishing part was when the clone basically threw the kid at me. He windshield. Holy shit!
The coward that he was.
Yeah,
throws.
Yeah, but at least that explains it, though.
Right.
Yeah. That's great.
It's like, this is not my kid. I don't care about you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I actually have some bad news. I have to get ready to go to work. They wanted me there at 5, but I told them I was going to be late because of this.
Oh.
So, I don't know, like, what else should I be saying? Oh, 5 stars. No, you guys can probably talk about it a little bit more after I leave, but I actually have to get out of here.
Okay. Did you give the first one 5 stars?
No. I would give it 4 stars.
Why wouldn't I?
I was entertained.
I don't know. Okay.
Although I probably have to go and update all of my Goodreads for the past year.
All right.
I guess I would like to talk about this more, but I can't.
All right. Sorry.
All right. Thanks, Tom. I'll see you next time.
Oh no! Oh no, Tom is stuck. Oh no. Oh no. I don't know what to do.
I guess message him real quick, see what's going on, because if you can, like, reconnect them.
I don't know what that pops up as.
I meant over there, but okay.
This specifically said not to have the YouTube. Oh, here.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So something happened. We'll tell Tom I said bye and thank you.
Okay.
I didn't mean for him to leave. All right.
Okay.
Are you doing that? What are you trying to do?
Yes, I'm waiting for you to get up. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Oh, wait.
Wait. Did you get him back?
Yes. Ooh.
All
Okay.
right.
I don't know what happened, but I can't hear you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Bye, Tom.
Bye. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it takes a little bit to get me into the studio, so that's why we're.
Did it just drop?
Yeah, it just dropped. I swear. I rebooted my PC and my router just before we started, and yeah, here we are. So I apologize.
No worries. So the books that I have for Nevernight and Godsgrave are both paperbacks. So I'm probably not going to get the next one at release. I'm going to be waiting. I may just buy the ebooks so that.
When's John's Choice come up again?
2 months. So
oh, wow.
In October.
So maybe by then.
I doubt that the paperback will be available by then, but I should be able to get the ebook. And and I'm sure John will get the
audiobook.
Yeah. So,
but I don't know. As you know, one of the things I was thinking about this book is he commits some sins that I would ding other authors for, but for some reason it's okay when he does it.
what kind of things?
Like the tropiness of eclipses and
Mr.
Kindly's fights. It's like, okay, and here's the part where they're going to fight, and
right.
so just set up. I was like, okay, and yeah, that got annoying after a bit, but it wasn't as annoying. Like, oh, this is bullshit, So,
there was a specific chapter that was going back and forth between Furion and Leona and Ashlyn and Mia.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that chapter? What did you think of that chapter? Like, why do you think he played it that way? Kind of showing glimpses of them both at the same time.
Well, it's kind of a counterpoint in the sense that, and obviously in Furion's case, we have a master-slave relationship, and the other one we have enemy relationship, essentially. I hate you, but I still want to get in your pants, sort of a thing. That's what I thought anyway. It's just a different take on things.
Right.
Because there's trust issues, obviously, between Ashlyn and
Mia.
Yeah. They have to be. I don't know if they'll be resolved, but that's something that has to be. And with Leona, it's like, okay, boy, get on the bed. It's time for this. time for sexy time now.
He's like, no thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Just different.
Well, again, I mentioned in the beginning that I'm just glad that I still like Mia. I think I would have been just utterly heartbroken if she had actually killed all the gladiati. Because at first I was like, no, she wouldn't. And then as it just got closer and closer, like eventually it was like, I can't read this part. I just can't do it. And John was just like, just keep reading.
Yeah, but that shows that Kristoff is doing his job.
Right.
Really. I mean, yeah, there was a slight, oh, this is bullshit sort of moment more than anything, but it's like, all right. The only thing I don't particularly care for in the book is that, like, Mia seems to have to do everything.
Right.
To a certain extent. People help her.
Right.
Not without help, but she's like, she's apparently the only one thing that can do things. And not a spoiler alert for Krypton season 2, but there's a point where one of the characters essentially says, hey, you have to let somebody else do something too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wish that would be more of the case. So.
It seems like people were working behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, Mercurio was, and so was Ashlyn.
And Ashlyn, yeah.
But they're not, obviously Mia has plot immunity. I learned that from that, thing. But it's like she apparently is the one who comes up with the plans, and she does, like pretty much everything. Anything of note. And then the other characters, okay, yes, Mia, I'll follow your orders. So
what was her initial mission? Was it just to get the map? Is that what? Because she knew that Scava was paying for something.
Right.
And
yeah, she had to obtain the map, and apparently the map is on Ashlyn now.
Okay. That's a whole interesting thing.
That's for book 3, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. I also have to take a look at the cover on the 3rd book, because, in this one in particular, they talk about how after she won that one battle that Leona was like, oh, you need champion's armor or whatever, and she got the feathery red thing, and so I have to look at what she looks like on the 3rd book.
Yeah, it's out there somewhere. But I thought that was interesting that they had her return to her former home as a gladiator now, not as the Doña or the Dona.
Mm-hmm.
So, and how crazy was it that she was the one who had killed Leona's husband?
Right.
Back in the 1st book. And it's like that's got to come to a head somewhere.
Right.
in book 3. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting dynamic as well. Yeah, he seems to have a talent for keeping stuff when you in hindsight, it's like, well, of course it should have worked out that way, but you don't know that until you've actually read it. So good on him. That's one of the reasons I liked him. So
I felt like there was definitely a lot going on, and this series is very different from the series that he co-wrote with Amy Kaufman. So
yes,
I'm
that's
pretty
also
interested.
different from
Lifelike,
yeah, as well. So
yeah, I'm interested in checking out more of his stuff. I think he might have like a ninja series that came out before Nevernight. I'm not sure. So that would be worth checking out. So as John's already said, he gives it 5 stars. I think I would also give it 5 stars. I don't know if I gave Nevernight 4 stars, but I think I would give this one 5 stars. Just because
go ahead.
Just because it brought me to like literal tears.
Twice apparently.
So.
I gave it 4 stars. I was certainly entertained. So yeah, I mean, it's a good book. I mean, it's an entertaining read. So, although I think it's interesting that finally now they're getting this class consciousness where, hey, we're getting screwed over by the elites here, and let's do something about it. This is how these revolts happen. So, see, book 3. Do you happen to know if book 3 is the final? Like, is it a trilogy or is it?
It's my understanding that it's the final.
Okay.
And then also at the end of the book, I don't know if you went that far because it wasn't in the audiobook either.
Probably not.
There was a note from him that says, no, I hear you say the word as if I sat in the room beside you. I see you bent over, the tome in your hand with a frown on your face and a curse on your lips, as if I were puddled in the shadow at your feet. The realization that there's no more pages is sinking in now. I hear it. I see it. No, you say again. What of Mia and Jonin, of Skava, Mercurio, Ashlyn, and Trick, the secrets of the dark and the crown of the moon? I promise ruins in her wake. Pale light glittering on waters that drank in a city of bridges and bones. All these questions unanswered, and yet the book is at its end. No, you say, it cannot end like this. Fear not, little mortal. The song is not yet sung. This is but the calm before the crescendo. This tale is only 2 of 3, birth and life and death. So patience, gentle friends, patience. Close your eyes, take my hand, and walk with me.
Okay.
So.
Good deal.
And I can only buy 1 book for the rest of the year. So right now it's between.
Is this going to be it?
I'm kind of leaning towards it. It's either going to be Dark Dawn or it's going to be The Toll. Those are the 2 that I have.
That was just a book, yes.
Yeah. I'm ready to finish that up too. So it's going to be one of those 2. I might have to flip a coin. I don't know. I'm leaning more towards Dark Dawn though. Maybe someone will gift it to me for my birthday. In September.
Or Christmas in December. Yeah.
So that was what we read for July. And the next book that we'll be reading is your pick, Tom. You said
Beloved by Toni Morrison, in the light of the fact that she recently passed.
Right, so that is what we will be reading for August. We'll be reading Beloved. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, please read it and then join us on the next discussion. And one last time, if you want to know about the Libri Labra Book Club perks, or perks of just being a subscriber for the Libri Labra YouTube channel, you can find more information about that at patreon.com/LibriLabra. All right, guys. Well, did you have any final thoughts, Tom?
Well, I wish John was here because I really want to say this one because we actually played the game together. The book when in the gladiatorial sections remind me obviously of Gladiator, but they also remind me of Rise. The Xbox games. Like, oh my god, this is exactly like Rise. Because I want to play Rise again. I know some people don't like it, but I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah,
and I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it too. All right. So that's it for this discussion. Hope you'll join us next time. Thanks for joining us this time, and have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.